Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing the what's next on Gervonta Davis, the undefeated and now technically 3-division world champion, even though he's won titles in 2 weight classes that are secondary belts. But hey, right now it's the technical terms that matter. So technically, he's a 3-division world champion right now. But that shouldn't take away from the victory itself, because Gervonta Davis faced a tough challenge, moving up all the way to 140 pounds to take on an undefeated, young, scrappy Mario Barrios, who was much bigger than he was, And in my opinion, this was the toughest test of his career. Even though Leo Santa Cruz, in my opinion, probably the most talented fighter that Davis has ever fought, this was the toughest test because this guy was so much bigger. Santa Cruz is a fighter that competed all the way down at 118 pounds, 4-division champ. Definitely more talented, but the smaller man. He took on the bigger man against Barrios, got the knockout. It was impressive. Broke him down in a tough, hard-fought battle and captured the championship at 140. So now the big question is, what's next for Gervonta Davis? Well, that's really up in the air. I mean, realistically, at 140, the only options that he really has at 140 in terms of PBC guys would be Robert Easter Jr. or a rematch with Mario Barrios. That isn't going to happen. Those are the only 2 PBC guys in the top 10. There's Regis Prograis, but I don't think Davis wants that smoke. So, in all reality, I don't really think we're going to see him taking on anybody at 140 in his next fight. He also did say he would prefer to compete at 130 or 135 or 130. Anyway, so options there, they're a little bit more, but they're not great. And that's the big question. Who is he going to fight, to continue to push his name out there? That's the big question right there, because there's really nobody at 135 that is a really strong and good fighter that works with the PBC. At 130, he could invite up Gary Russell Jr., but Gary Russell Jr. at 126 is defending his title against Ray Vargas next. Now, if he does that soon, maybe him and Davis could get together at the end of the year, but Gary Russell's been a guy that only competes once a year, so not likely to see that. So it's just, it's weird, it sucks because Davis is truly talented. He is really good. Does he want to reach down to 130, either make the weight there or something? But again, not a lot of big name options at 130. So it's really, it's sad, because he's a guy that can make any weight from 130 to 140 now. But he wants big name fighters, but Floyd is protecting him and not letting him fight big name fighters. So it's kind of, it's shitty. It's a shitty situation. Really don't know what's next for Gervonta Davis. We know he prefers 135 down to 130, but I don't see a lot of big options for him at those 2 weights. So, we got to wait and see what he decides. Maybe he'll invite up. Maybe I would wager that he's going to move down to 135 for his next fight, because I think that's the most star-studded division between those 3. It's got Teofimo Lopez, Vasily Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. But again, those guys all fight for other promotions. So how is he going to be able to pull that off and get those guys interested in fighting him? Especially when even the other guys, even rounding out the top 10, are all with other organizations. You got Linares and Luke Campbell, Golden Boy, Matchroom, they fight on DAZN. It's going to be tough. Richard Comey's with ESPN and Top Rank. It's going to be very tough to find an opponent. But one guy that I think makes a lot of sense if he can't get a big fight next, and here's my opinion on it. Here's why I think 135 is going to be the stomping ground. Isaac Cruz. Young, only 1 loss earlier in his career. He's been bulldozing other fighters, and he's young, aggressive, he comes straight forward, and he's with the PBC. That fight makes a lot of sense next if I'm Gervonta Davis. So, something to look into. I'm hoping he starts talking with some of the big dogs, him and Mayweather, and they can work something out. But, you know, as of right now, I really think if he wants the best name available, he either fights his friend Robert Easter at 140, or he moves back down to 135 and takes on Isaac Cruz, the top contender right now. So we'll see what happens. That's the what's next on the undefeated 3-division world champion Gervonta Davis. Hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing. You've been here with the truth.